All right. Hey, guys, thank you so much for joining us in the Garage Door Heroes podcast. This is a highly anticipated episode. I'm so excited. We've been planning this for a couple of months, and we have the great Tommy Mello joining us today. Thank you so much for coming on, Tommy.
Hey, thanks for having me. Really looking forward to this.
Right on. You know, I don't want to steal Tommy's thunder. He's got an amazing story to tell, and it's his to tell, but I don't mind just saying, Tommy has come a long way in the garage door and home service industry. And I've heard the story a few times. I've been down to Vertical Track in Phoenix and met Tommy and did a shop tour and kind of heard the bio, if you will, but Tommy didn't just start with, a van or a truck and tools and supplies. He started at not just net zero. He was in the negative, right? Negative in 50K in debt. And he had to grow from there to where he is today. And today it's amazing. I think most of us, or many of us, would aspire to accomplish what Tommy's done in his market. He's the voice of the Home Service Expert podcast. It is the top 0.1% of all podcasts. He's had a global impact on the home service and the garage door industry. So it's definitely a privilege that Tommy would take some time to jump on here. I'm going to turn the time over to you now and just kind of let you talk and let's cover some bases about, obviously. Oh, by the way, guys, I want you to take notes and then take action. When this is over, it's all about taking action. But anyway, Tommy, talk to us about just kind of that story, your journey, if you will.
Yeah, I grew up in Detroit, and my mom and dad got a divorce when I was 7. And I used to sit on the toilet and hear them arguing about money. And it was hard for a kid. I was like, it sucked. My sister liked to spend money, buy Eternity perfume and wear the nicest jeans. She's 6 years older than me. And I just thought to myself back then, man, I don't want to be a burden for my parents. And it's tough for a 7-year-old to think like that. So
yeah,
I mowed lawns and shoveled snow. And when I was 12, I got a job washing dishes under the table for $4.05 per hour, which is a lot of money to me back then because, I was 12.
Oh, yeah.
I was in 7th grade. So I'd walk literally from school, Flynn Middle School, and go wash dishes. And I grew up pretty young, But great parents, they gave me more love and attention than anybody deserves. I mean, literally, like, without them and my sister, I wouldn't be here today. I mean, they love the shit out of me and told me I could do anything I put my mind to. So awesome. Fast forward a little bit of time, I started a landscape company. I moved out to Arizona when I was 16, started a landscape company when I got into college, and I was pre-dental, went and interned with a dentist. While I was bartending as well, and I was flipping cars, I was buying and selling Bowflexes. And the dentist said, hey, man, go get a degree in business because, quite frankly, I'm still in debt. I'm 47 years old, he said. So it made me really rethink going into dental school. I really wanted to be into business. So I had a landscape company. We're doing about 30 grand a month. And I moved in with a couple of roommates. And this is 2005, 2006. And one of the guys worked for a garage door company. And he said, hey, can you paint garage doors for me? And I said, how much does it pay? He said, I'll give you $100 a door. You got to pay for the paint. So I got really good at painting garage doors. I could paint 10 a day. On Saturdays and Sundays, I'd paint 10. I called every company in Phoenix, and I became the garage door painter. I meet up with the techs. I'd get the samples. I'd match the samples. You can't match oxidation. So I tell clients that. But I was good at it. I was efficient, and I drove a G20, 95 G20 Infinity. So good on gas, about a Magnum 5 from Home Depot. And then my other roommates started to work for the company as a technician. We decided to start a business, and we didn't know what we were doing. I thought I knew a lot about business. I didn't. And we got into the yellow pages, hence the name A1 fell first in the phone book. Plus it was like, hey, A1, that's top notch. And then we were playing this fighting game on Xbox, and I liked the A1 logo. We've changed it since then. And we weren't very good at business. Me and him did everything in the business. We made enough money. We split the cash that we'd make, and we paid our bills together. We'd hang out. We'd go to the pool halls together at night. So I had a roommate, a best friend, and a business partner. And in 2010, we just decided to go separate directions, and I took on the debt. There was about 50 grand in debt. And I changed the name from A1 Garage Door Specialists to A1 Garage Door Service. So a new LLC, but still with the same customer base. I just took on all the bills. And we had some pretty hefty bills at 50 grand. You know, it was a lot to me back then. And, you know, I guess I was only 27. And I hired my mom and my stepdad. My stepdad got laid off. And so he came. They moved out here from Detroit, took a big pay cut. And they just decided to get behind me on everything. And that's when I went back to school for my master's and got a master's degree in business. And I learned in this degree the speed of implementation, how to network, and a lot about marketing and SEO. So I was obsessed with cutting videos, getting reviews, and I started doing a lot of search engine optimization, creating links, faster load speed. Back then they called it mobile get-in if you weren't mobile optimized. Mm-hmm. And there was some huge Google updates, Penguin and Panda. And so I kind of rolled through those and got really good at marketing. And then I hired a few key players. I mean, Adam Cronenberg started in 2014. He was my right hand. He was handled everything that I hated. He handled HR. He handled payroll. He's just really good in the business. I mean, he did everything I didn't want to do. He left me alone to do sales and marketing, and he handled all the bullshit.
Perfect partnership.
It was great. And he's an amazing guy. He's still one of my best friends, and we'll always be there for one another. I have nothing bad to say about him at all.
No, he's great. I actually met him. I met him 2 weeks ago at the Wausau in Vegas.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Yeah. He's a brain, and he's a hard worker, and he's a good dad, and he's a good husband, and he's a great son. So he's just an all around great person. He's really down to help people. And he really liked the fact that we were helping a lot of businesses, even outside of garage doors. So 2017, got an opportunity to start my podcast, The Home Service Expert. Met a guy named Al Levy. He was like the third podcast. And he said, "Hey, you live in Scottsdale. I live in Scottsdale. Why don't we have lunch?" And I was writing my book, The Home Service Millionaire. And he said, "It's not a good book." He kind of flipped through it and said, "You should rewrite this whole thing." Wow. He liked some of the core concepts, but he said we could do better. And so I got 12 contributors in the book. And I invited Al to my office, and he said, "Show me your manuals. Show me your systems." Yeah. And there weren't any systems or manuals. There was one fat book with dust on it. And so I hired Al, and we started creating org charts and standard operating procedures. And Adam and I and Brian Davenport sat in a room for days on end creating what we have today. And that was really 2017 is when we got ultra focused. We got on a Service Titan, which Service Titan would not allow any other company outside of HVAC, plumbing, electrical. And I got a hold of Ara on LinkedIn, and he said, "I might be crazy for doing this, but I just believe in your vision." I mean, he just loved my passion. And he said, "I'm going to give you guys a good chance." And he sent out 10 people from Service Titan. And Adam was instrumental in that. So that happened. Al Levy happened, taught us about operational excellence, and the 7-Power contractor, still an amazing friend and a mentor. We still work together today. And what was really cool is I went to Pantheon, which was Service Titan's event. I started meeting a bunch of HVAC plumbing guys that were killing it, 20, 30, 50 million. And I started doing shop tours and learning what they're like. "Hey, I get this garage door guy, Tommy. We'll have him in. We'll give him the keys to the city. We'll show him everything we know. What's the worst that could happen? He forms a big business. It's not a competitor." Right. So I learned a lot. I started hanging out. Garage door guys are they tend to hate success. It's almost like they don't want to band together. In HVAC in 1991, Frank Blau, George Brazil, they formed a company which is now called Nexstar, where they were going to help each other. They were going to meet together and help raise the bar. Right. They were going to talk about service agreements and financing and how they could win together. And I just don't feel the same way with garage door guys. I mean, if you go onto Facebook groups, you just see them put each other down and just hate on each other and talk about you shouldn't charge that price when, you look at these companies, they're not branded correctly. They haven't got kick charged, Dan Antonelli.
They don't. I try and push Dan when I can.
I look at it and I say, here's what happened, Rob. There's a couple bad actors in the industry, and they left a bad name for anybody that charges a good price because they weren't trained. They were putting on springs that didn't match up to IPPT. They sold parts that weren't the best. And so that created a bad stigma. And I think people still kind of remember that, and they live in that stigma.
Yeah.
And just over time, Jody Underhill, I've had a lot of people come into my life that made a huge impact in the business. I can't put it in 1, 2, or 5 people. It was a culmination of a lot of people outside of the industry and a lot of great people. But I got to the point during COVID where it was just hard to hire. My groups of people were 5, 10 people. And Vanessa called me because I'm friends with Jody and Vanessa. And Jody and Vanessa said, we'll fly out there and show you what we're doing to hire truck drivers when it's impossible to find truck drivers. And they basically gave me the phrase, what they said was, you're going to the unemployment line to find people to come work for you, like Craigslist and Indeed and ZipRecruiter. Where do people spend their time? Social media. So they started a group called Rapid Hire. They're big in home service, but ultimately what they did is they brought me class of 40, 50 great candidates. That's how we blew this thing up. Now, I pride myself on saying, and this is a really long intro, but I made every mistake you could think of. I was writing checks to make payroll from taking an equity line. I mean, literally, I put myself on the line. I took calculated guesses, and I made a lot of mistakes, a lot. I had people stealing toilet paper. I put that in my newest book, Elevate. I mean, if it could go wrong, Murphy's Law slapped me in the face a million times. And anybody that thinks I just woke up with success, they don't know all the shit I've been through. I deal pretty good with anxiety and stress, but I'm not in the fight. I've got great people, and I'm not on every call. I'm not on every meeting. I'm not a micromanager. In fact, I don't do very great with bad news. I do great with good news. And I have a strong tolerance for a lot of stress. There could be a lot of things going on. My mom used to cry and say, you don't even know the guys are stealing. And I'm like, Mom, that's the least of my concerns right now. I'm hoping that I could just get all these calls answered and booked. So, through systems, really great KPI tracking and very good people. Jim Leslie is a beast, came into my life. He does so much for me. All around knows more what's going on in my life than anybody other than Bree. And then you've got Dan Miller, who's the president of the company that navigated us through the deal and executed 10 out of 10. And you got Luke Martin now, who's the COO. We got a CFO named Adrian. Really, really strong team. We built a training academy based on Al's teachings. I think it's one of the most state-of-the-art technician training programs in the country.
Hands down.
And here we are today. I'm going to do a couple $100 million, but I'm most prideful of that. We're 23% bottom line. And garage door companies could either love me or hate me, but we open up our doors. We share everything. We do shop tours. We have Garage Door Freedom, which is specific to garage doors. And we have Vertical Track, which is the event. Yep. And we've got Crystal and George and John who lead that up. And we train people on building a price book, performance pay, how to tax plan, how to build a budget. I mean, we basically, for $225 a week, $900 a month, and then they get rebates on everything. We just worked out a deal with Clopay that they're going to be giving us a rebate. We got a smoking deal with Amar, and we're working some stuff out with Chamberlain, and Chamberlain's playing ball with us. I mean, we got some of the best vendors in the world working with us now.
So cool.
And it's mind-boggling to me, Rob, that every company that we worked with, we got Cody Johnson went from 500,000 to 3.5 million in 18 months. We've got so many people that have made a fortune, that continue to make a fortune, and yet there's still all this negativity and all the people's mindset. Some people that have a broken mindset, they could only focus on the bad things. They never know how to look at something and say, "This is so amazing what's going on in this business, in this community," and they focus on talking shit to each other and hating on one another. And I don't have time for that. My brain does not deal with negativity. It just doesn't. And it's probably because of the way I was raised. I was around negativity and just hearing fights and money. And it's just, it comes out of resentment of what I think it is jealousy. and it's envy. And some people say they don't have a wrap truck. They say I'm busy as can be. I'm like, man, you must be killing it. You must be making at least $500,000 a year plus paying yourself $200,000. And I just don't see a lot of these business owners that brag about how cheap they are and brag about how they shit on their employees, that no one's allowed to make six figures. It's crazy to me. They literally screw their employees over. They screw over their employees so that they could say, I'm giving the customer a good deal. And yet when I go to a market, everybody changes their prices and all of a sudden they're okay with it. It's like they tell themselves these lies to fall asleep at night. And they say, how do you sleep at night? I say, listen, my people we pay for a big portion of their Aflac. They get healthcare, vision, dental. They get PTO. They get a 401k. They get a brand new truck. They get $4,000 worth of tools. They get 2 months worth of training. How do I sleep at night? I know I'm taking care of my internal clients, the best people, the most important people in my life is how I sleep at night. They're all allowed to own houses. They're allowed to put their kids in private school. They're allowed to go on dream vacations. They're allowed to go first class through life and change their family tree is how I go through life.
I don't know if anyone heard that. That might sound like thunder. It's actually bombs being dropped by Tommy on the podcast here. If I can say something, I just want to stick something in a minute. So here's the book. I want to just kind of the subheading right here, right, guys? I've read this and I've listened to it as well. But build a business where everybody wins. And I'm just kind of insert this right here because Tommy's talking about taking care of his people. And when we talk about building a business where everybody wins, and this is my kind of business, right? I am always in search of the win-win-win. You know, the business owner wins when his team is winning, and then our customers are winning because we're providing a blue ribbon service, if you will. And I think that's amazing when everybody comes away going, man, this is the best. Thanks for sharing that, Tommy. What else? I didn't want to stop you there.
I was just on a call with 100 different HVAC guys earlier today, and they wanted me to just do a lunch and learn. My food wasn't here yet because it was only 10 a.m. But they said, how do you create a culture? And I said, well, you start by helping them figure out their why. And it starts with self-esteem, believing in the pricing we charge, believing that we are the very best. We got to care more for the client, and we need to believe. And, you know, what if we sat down with every one of our coworkers and said, tell me your goals. What are your dreams? What's your bucket list? What do you really want? I know you don't care if the company sets records, and getting people to dream bigger and getting them to understand that takes budgeting, that takes accountability, that takes consistency. You need to show up. So once you figure out what their goals, their dreams are, you can reverse engineer it to go to work and be successful, and then celebrate those wins constantly.
Yeah.
And I think if people celebrated these wins all day, every day, and they had meetings that were built around the big wins and mindset changes and a mindset of abundance, and we reminded them that this getting better at this, whether that's warranty calls, ticket averages, customer ratings, service to sales, if we showed them, you do this for 3 months and move this number to here, you're going to be able to buy that house 3 months quicker.
Bam.
And this is a mathematical exact formula. This is the facts. Now you're motivating them on their big wins instead of what is going to help the company only. And 82% of people say they don't leave a current company because they have best friends. And those best friends are formed outside of work. It's by having lunches and dinners and going bowling. And I'm going to do a big Christmas movie. I'm going to rent out a studio or a theater. And yes, we could do nice things now because we're extremely profitable. We make great money. But do you have money to be able to make pancakes for your people in the morning and get the wife involved and let her know why, you know, this technician is busting their ass and what their goals are for what the dream they're trying to provide for their family?
Right
do the kids know where dad is and why he's working Saturdays? Do they get to know? Do they celebrate the big wins when they hit them? Because I think it's something that we haven't really done well as business leaders and owners and founders. And just sharing the big wins instead of getting in front of a meeting saying we need to do better, we need to drive better, we need this, we need this, we need this. What if we went into a meeting and we said, this is what's going on that's great. And the one-on-one meetings is the time to really focus on where we need to do work. I don't believe in performance improvement plans. I hate the name. I say these are to help you win your dreams. These are to make your dreams come happen quicker.
Right.
And yes, we have let go of some technicians because they're constantly getting bad reviews and not taking care of our clients. But for the most part, if they've got a will to succeed, we're going to find a way. And it's the mindset. And that's the whole book. My vendors all get to win. In fact, Clopay wants to do a lot with us because they see what we're doing out there. It's not possible to not see. Right. And they said, and I said, what can we do better for you? How do we be a better partner? And they said, you got the best product mix in the industry. You sell what we make the most money on. We need your help in these markets. Same thing with Amar, same thing with Chamberlain. I go into these meetings saying we need to be the best partners possible. And I don't just beat them up on prices because that's not a good partnership. I want them to innovate. I want them to be healthy. I want them to grow. Therefore, they could be a better partner for us and we could be a better partner for them. And that's why everybody's got to win, including our partnerships. When we purchase a company, the employees need to win. The owner of the business that partnered with us needs to win. And it's got to be that win-win. And it's in every sport I've ever played, either you win or lose. But in business, it doesn't need to be that way.
No, right on. Right on. You know, going back to your employees, you know, and I hear things, different places, you know, people work to achieve their own dreams, right? Not our dreams. They want to work to achieve their own dreams. So when we can provide a pathway for that, you know, that'll be huge. And so, and I can remember a podcast, I think you were on it with Jody and Megan was talking about, you know, treat your employees like your best customer because they are your best referral source and your best customer. It's such a mind shift for so many of us business owners, right?
Yeah, well, listen, they are your internal clients and they deserve the best. In fact, Deidre was on a call yesterday with Luke and said, you know, we're not probably paying our apprentices enough. And I was on a big meeting with the entire C-suite, directors, VP, whatever they got all these fancy titles. And I said, let's pay the most for the apprentices, even though we pay them to come learn a trade, unlike HVAC and all these other trades, plumbing. So I want to get to the point where people feel valued from day one, where we roll out a red carpet in the training center. We do a champagne toast. Our trainers don't like champagne, so they give apple juice because the alcohol, HR, which I stay out of. But why don't we celebrate when they start? They made a decision, hopefully as a career, to come work for us, right?
Yep.
Don't you think we should like take our hats off when they come in and salute them and say you made the right choice and give their entire family a tour and say that you're valuable and you deserve so much more than ever, that today is going to be the most important day you've ever made. And we're so proud that you made this decision. And we love the fact that you did. And we're going to celebrate. We're going to welcome you. We're going to do everything above and beyond. I mean, what would happen if that took place? Instead of this person's worked here 30 years, let's throw a party now that they're leaving and celebrate. Why don't we have a party when they start?
Well, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. And again, you know, this is a mind shift. A real smart person I know says, we tend to get more of what we celebrate. If we celebrate, and I mean real celebration, not just some thank yous, but if we tend to get more of what we celebrate. So if we celebrate new hires and people coming on board, we attract that. And it's the same thing with high achievers and from our A players and getting reviews. We'll get more of what we celebrate. So yeah, thank you for that.
You know, Rob, I had Dan Martell on the podcast. Pretty proud of the podcast too. It's number 25 on Apple in the business section, the home service expert. And I'm going to be in the top 10 next year. We're actually building out the 52-week calendar next week for the podcast. And I'm just bringing the heat to this podcast. I'm going to have the biggest, most successful people. And it's more business related. It's home service, but it's really business. And I had Dan Martell buy back your time.
Yeah.
And Dan was sitting in my studio and said, you know, Tommy, he goes, a lot of business owners out there don't understand they need to buy like they want to be bought from. And Jody could tell you a million stories of these business owners that want more for their business. They want to sell more. They want to convert more, but yet they don't want to spend anything. They don't want to get involved in something like our Freedom Group that we're doing in the Garage Door Freedom Group. They want. But I'll tell you this, I invest in consulting all the time. I invest in books. I listen to podcasts. I go to events. I'm always investing in myself, and I buy like I want to be bought from. And people say, how do you sell so much? How do people buy from you? And I interviewed my top technician in the company yesterday, and we played it in this morning's call. We call it Bring the Fire. It's an entire company once a month. And he said, what happened? I said, tell me how you're so successful. He goes, well, I just take out my cell phone. I show them how much you talk to me. I tell them your story. I show them the Pinnacle trip you take us on. I tell them about my insurance. I show them my new garage doors in my house and how proud I am of them. And he's got a Raptor and he's got a Can-Am. And they go, wow, do you make commission? And he goes, yeah, I make performance pay. I make a lot of money. And it's because I get 5-star reviews. I fix it right the first time. And I make sure that I am genuinely caring for my clients. And I want to fix it the right way. I want to make sure it's safe. And I want to make sure the store doesn't give you any problems in the next decade. And that's why we carry Max Life Parts, which is trademarked. And that's why when I get done with your garage door, you'll be able to lift it up with 2 fingers. It'll stay up. It'll stay in any position. I weigh every single door and I go through it and I make a lot of money for what I do. You're getting the best today.
There you go.
And yet they tip him. Yet he'll leave with $7,000. He gets a tip. He gets a 5-star review and they'll never forget him. And people say that's wrong. The parts don't cost that much. I do not give a shit. If you knew what it takes to run my business, we've got full-time trainers, full-time recruiters. We've got an apartment we put everybody up in. We've got the best CFO that money could buy, but also he's part of our team. And what I charge should be no concern to yours because I don't care. I pay $180 for a steak, and I'm glad to go there. I go there 4 times a month. I'm always at Steak 44. I talk about it a lot. I don't just go to McDonald's. I go for the experience, and I buy how I want to be bought from, and I enjoy nice things. I went to Disney World about a month ago, and we cut every line because we were able to afford not only going, but being first class. We just cut every line. We got to go to all 4 parks in one day. And wow. It's amazing just people's mindset. They just find reasons not to like somebody or like a company. When I had a guy just call me up, he's part of Garage Door Freedom. His name's Matt with M&M Doors. I talked to him, it was probably 6 weeks. And he said, our prices went way up when you guys came to our town. We're making more money than we've ever made. And it was a blessing in disguise when you guys got into Detroit. And we've learned so much in Garage Door Freedom. And that's the goal. It's people are like, why would you train your competition? There's got to be this ulterior motive. I'm like, well, they pay us. They pay for Crystal's time. They pay for John Baird's time. But ultimately, we're stronger together. And that's what I think people miss is, why do I care? Because you're successful doesn't mean I need to lose. We're helping the whole industry. This mindset of just when you win, we lose. We could all stay busy. There's enough water in the ocean for everybody to share. This whole mindset of, man, when they come in, they're going to gobble up. I don't know any company. Parker & Sons is going to do $280 million this year in Phoenix. One company. And there's a lot of other $100 million companies in HVAC and plumbing. They're not losing because Parker & Sons is winning. And this is the thing that HVAC and plumbing and electrical figured out 30 years ago that maybe, hopefully for this podcast, people are starting to figure out there's enough money and enough clients that we could all win. Isn't that a crazy idea?
Every house has a door on it. Nearly every house has a garage door on it. There is so much business to share.
I got 100 guys in Phoenix, 100 guys running around here today. Guess what? We're still not even more than 12% of the market, not even close. So it's like, just because they once in your market doesn't mean you're losing. It's crazy.
No. I think it's great. And it elevates everybody to use the term. It elevates, the high tide elevates all ships. And I think that's awesome. That's awesome. if we can just real quick before we move on, what are a couple of levers that the garage door guy owner, let's say he's a year in business. I have guys that I know are listening that are only 3 months in business. What is a lever that they can pull, maybe two levers that they can pull that will make a difference for them, in the next 20 days?
Well, I'll tell you this. People have to have pride in what they do. They need to know you care. So, one of the biggest questions Jody and Deidre and Vanessa told me that they get when they interview somebody is, do you guys drive new trucks? Because they were used to driving broke down trucks. Mm-hmm. They had no pride. The owner said, this is a used truck. I wrapped it so it looks okay. They don't get a gas card. It's like they need to have pride in their job. So I'd say make sure, culture used to be a 4-letter word for me, but make sure you're giving back, you're celebrating the wins. But sales training is what every company that I know in the world, whether it's Dairy Queen, a restaurant, a dentist, a home service company, they need to understand how to communicate better to clients and put their needs ahead and give options. If you're not giving options, you're giving ultimatums. So if you don't have a good, better, best, and I never start with good, I start with best. This is going to be the best. You're selling the house in a year. I wouldn't go max life on this house. What I would do if I was in your position, and if you were my mother, here's what I would do. So I learned this from Josh Kelly. Here's what you need to do. Here's what you should do. And if you were my mom, here's what I'd be telling you to do. My mom worked 3 jobs when I was a kid. I love my mom more than anything in the world. And if my mother were sitting right here, this is what I'd be telling her. It's to look at people in the eye, communicate properly. Instead of saying the most expensive, say top of the line. Instead of saying the cheapest, you say builder grade. And you say the word, do you want to kick this can down the road? And do you want me to Band-Aid it? Or do you want me to fix it permanently and make it safe? And learn eye contact, because body language is 55% of what we do. Yeah. 30% is tonality, empathy, the sincerity in my voice, and then the rest of the words we use. And invest in training your people. Success leaves clues. Make sure you're monitoring the top person and you're celebrating the wins and you're calling that individual every night and finding out what they're doing. And make sure you're spreading the word and make sure the people don't have a mentality at your company of, if I tell him how to do it, I won't get the good jobs, because that's a bullshit excuse. Yeah. I'm not in a good area. The dispatchers don't like me. The economy's turning to crap. There's a Ukraine and Israel war. Everybody's got an excuse of why they suck. You need to look in the mirror and say, maybe I'm the reason. Maybe I need to work on my leadership skills. Maybe I need to care more. And the other thing is, the reason I started carrying $4,000 worth of tools is guys don't have the tools to fix things effectively. Like, they don't have the best impact guns and drills. We went through 10 different tape measures to find the best one that was accurate and wasn't going to mess up. We bought scales for every technician so they could weigh the door, and taught them how to use the Service Spring Corp app. Investing in training, investing in the people. My main thing is, when Jody and Vanessa and Deidre pick somebody, and mostly my market managers, I say, don't give me anything but a 5 out of 5. They better be, if you're a single mom with 2 young daughters, they better be safe in that house. And I got to feel safe when I look at them. They better give eye contact. They better tell a great story. They better have a great smile. Their breath better be decent. I don't care if it's perfect breath. But I want somebody that has pride, that cares about the outcome, that really has passion when they walk in. And if they've got passion and they're not a dry, wet bone sitting there just watching the days go by, I want somebody that wants more for their life, that's going to give everything they've got, because I give everything I've got. I'll bleed for these people. They know that. They know, my coworkers know I will do anything. I go as hard as I could. The Lord knows I got a lot of work to do, and I'm not perfect, but I'll give everything I've got. So when I meet somebody that's willing to do that, I'll give them all the training and all the resources they need. And I think that that's what's missing. And so the guys out there that are young in business, you are the business. You are the networker. You got to go to B&I meetings. You got to make sure there's a yard sign. People always ask me this, Rob, who would win? You or your top salesman if you were back in the field? And I say this, if I were back in the field, I'm going to get every HOA president's phone number when I'm in the home. I'm getting a review on Nextdoor. I'm getting on their Facebook. I'm getting a picture. I'm getting a Google review. I'm getting a Yelp review. I'm going to go talk to the 2 neighbors. And I'm going to make sure they remember me. Yeah. So I think some of my top guys could beat me at that initial visit, but you give me 6 months for what I do with the reviews, the SEO power, the networking, go into B&I meetings. When I go to a B&I meeting, I say, hey, my name's Tommy Mello. I own a company called A1 Garage Door Service. The garage door is the smile of your home. It's 40% of your curb appeal. It's also the #1 ROI, Remodel Magazine 6 years in a row, 102.7%. The garage door is the #1 entryway of all the bugs. So we fix the bottom rubber. We'll keep your insulation bill low, meaning your HVAC bill will go down and your heat bill will go down if we put an insulated garage door. But I'm not here to talk to you about garage doors. I'm here to tell you that we love amazing people. If you want somebody and you know somebody that wants 6 figures, that wants a career, wants an owner and a leadership team that cares, somebody that's going to have their back and watch them accomplish dreams. We've got homeowners. We've got kids putting their kids in the best schools. We've got them going on their dream vacations. If you know somebody that wants this career, you need to tell me. And I know you guys are the best networkers on the planet. So here's what I did. I created a QR code for you. You scan this QR code. I'm going to give you $1,000 if we hire this person. And I know you don't need the money, but if you just keep your eye out, you know, somebody that's young, eager, at least they can pass a physical. I don't care if they're young, but I also don't want someone super late in their career that's going to retire soon because we invest a lot into them. But if they're a happy person, they got a great smile, you send them my way. And if people spend as much time marketing for great people as they spent marketing for great clients, they'd be winning a lot more.
Oh yeah. They'd have a pool, a database of people to draw from to come and work.
Yeah, they get their pick of the litter. And then some people are so good at recruiting, but their back doors are left wide open. They don't take care of them when they get here.
Yeah.
And that's another big problem. And so sales, giving options is important. And I think people, if you advertise for cheap customers and your name of your company is discount or we are cheap, garage doors are us, or your last name, which no one knows what that means and it's hard to spell, name your company. And I would have changed my name if I go back, but A1 still means top notch, stellar. A1, hey, that's A1, baby. A1 from day one. But right I think the marketing of how you're branded and how your building looks and how your vehicles look is super important to attract the right type of clients. We're not coupons are us. We're going to discount city. People understand when you call us up, we're going to get fixed at the right time. We show up 24/7, 365 days a year. We'll come out nights or weekends. It doesn't really matter. We'll be there Christmas Day, Christmas Eve. It doesn't matter. We've got a team. And I think people, when they get it done right, they don't really care. The reason why people think that they would never want to spend money as much as we charge is because they don't buy nice things. They don't invest in their house. They're selling out of their own pocket. They don't believe that they're worth anything. Truly, the reason is they're not worth it. So the prices they're charging are just enough to charge enough to get by. They don't value themselves enough to charge the right price. And they don't value their people enough to be able to charge that. And they don't believe. If they just had more faith and belief in what they're doing and knew they were training the best, they do background checks, they do drug tests, they got cameras in the cars, they're making sure we're good human beings inside and outside of work. If they believed, they'd be able to charge a great price, be able to hire the greatest CFO, the greatest VP of marketing, the best trainers in the industry. It would change the whole dynamic of the business.
Man, if people listening are not inspired right now, man, their skin's too thick. But that's awesome. We've had a segue there. By the way, guys, tomorrow, Joe Crisera is going to be on the podcast. We're going to be discussing sales training and the need for a culture of sales. So thanks for the segue into the next podcast, Tommy. That's fabulous. It's been fabulous. Thanks for
Rob. A couple quick tips. I know you want to transition here, but options is important. They've done studies. 6 options is the best. That's why we got 1 through 5-star when we sell a door in the A1 signature package. Yep. The other thing I would say is we try to sell what the customer wants first. If they call us up for a keypad, we don't talk about the freight cable and everything else. Some of my competitors do a complete analysis before they start the work. I think when you go ask for an oil change, they should start the oil change before they give you any recommendations. So we call it the second knock. You want to start the original work the customer called out for and do your safety inspection after that. And we don't mind a second knock and a third knock. We talk about bottom rubber, operator reinforcement brackets, the spring pad, if it's cracked, we're going to replace it. We're going to always offer a new opener, even if they've got a brand new opener, because it's my job to offer it with my cue. And the best thing, there's a bedroom upstairs. This new opener is super noisy. I can put a very quiet opener. Well, I don't sell things that people don't need, Tommy. I don't buy anything. You know how many things I buy that I don't need? I don't need that new truck out there. I didn't need this freaking ring that keeps track of my sleep. I think I want to buy things that people offer because it's going to make my life better and easier. And I'm going to invest into my home. I want options. I want the best warranty. I moved in a really nice house. I bought all new hot water heaters, the best state-of-the-art hot water heaters. I didn't need all new hot water heaters. There was only one that needed to be replaced. Well, I hate the people that say, I only sell things people need.
Yeah.
What about what they want? What if they want Amazon to come deliver their packages in the garage? You know, I just had a guy in here that's going to start insulating garage doors for us when we sell a urethane door. And we're going to sub it out to him, and we're going to make more money doing that. Nobody needs that, but they want the livable space in their garage. They want to lower their HVAC bill. They want to keep the warm air in the winter. They don't need it. I think that's such a crock of shit and such a cop-out. When people say this stuff, it really bothers me that people don't know the business, and they make all these assumptions. You know, the best thing about me is I learn every day. I'll learn from $1 million company. I'll take the phone call and I'll have a conversation. I'm not better than them. I'm not smarter than them. I learn every day. I don't ever talk to somebody unless they're negative and say, man, that guy's full of shit. I want to learn from everybody. I've got an open mind. It's an abundant mindset.
Right. We all need to be learning from everybody, which is a question I've got. You know, you brought up going to visit HVAC shops. So from the perspective of a garage door contractor, service repair company owner, why would we go try and learn a concept from an HVAC or a plumbing shop? And I think I know the answer to that, but there are so many guys that think, why would I go talk to them? I'm a garage door service owner.
Well, all I did is look for who had the most private jets. And what I realized is HVAC and plumbing guys, they got their old private aviation. I said success leaves clues. So I'm going to go find industries that they seem genuinely happy. They take care of their employees. They drive new trucks. They could afford service titan, and not say, service titan is too expensive because I'm cheap and I don't have the money. You don't have the money because you don't buy like you want to be bought from. Dan Martell. But I think we didn't know what service agreements were before HVAC kind of came up with that. We didn't know what financing even was or how that process works. We didn't understand the basis of what A1 Garage Doors is today, and I share it with everybody. So I think looking at how they do things, how they track their KPIs, when you walk in a successful HVAC shop, and I'm talking massive companies that I went and visited, and I visited dozens of them, the air is different. The energy is different. The productivity is different. The pay for performance is made to motivate. And everybody's running in the same direction. And when you get to experience that, you say, man, I got a lot of work to do, but I'm excited. You write down a bunch of notes. You start getting excited. They open their doors, and you're thinking about how to have better meetings, how to recruit better people, more motivated people. It just, the energy is different. You get ideas. You see their truck setups are very specialized. And so I call it R&D, rip off and duplicate, and success leaves clues. So follow it.
That's awesome. And that's exactly what I was hoping for. And I have customers that are listening, so I'm hoping they're listening and picking up on this. But what's so in the garage door industry, there's a lot of discussion, and I'll just leave it at that. It might be more like debate over memberships. And you mentioned service agreements. What are your thoughts on that? And I'm going to speculate that that's something that the garage door industry or you may have adopted or brought in from the HVAC guys.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I went out to Leland Smith Service Champions. He invited me in. He bought me lunch. He let me sit down with his COO and his CMO. And I watched their training, and they spent 2 hours doing one unit in their training. and they're not allowed to do a tune-up in under 45 minutes. I mean, if they don't spend 2 hours, you're fired. And they take it apart, every piece of the unit. They clean it with toothbrush. They got the comb to go through the whole evaporator system and the condenser. They literally make it brand new. And they take pictures of every part. When I got back from Service Champions, I got with my training team, and we came up with the 151-point tune-up. And now we don't do a tune-up in 15 minutes, and it's just a glorified sales pitch. We actually rewire everything. We take the case off the opener. We actually hand tighten each and every hinge. We look at everything and make sure the door is balanced. We check out everything. We're paying attention to the smallest little things. We're making sure everything's safe, everything's tightened, everything's lubricated, everything's moving appropriately. We clean everything, make sure we got blowers. We blow out the garage when we finish. I mean, and service agreements, we do make sure everything is safe. And it's the largest moving object on your home. And there's all kinds of accidents, and people, what a lot of people don't understand is their time is worth a lot more than people think. If you figured out what you make in an hour, a lot of people that own very nice houses, they make hundreds, if not thousands of dollars an hour. There's opportunity costs. So they say, I just want to maintain this thing, just to come take care of it. And part of the maintenance agreement is we'll come out same day. It's you got 24/7 access. It's you'll get a discount on today's work. It's we're going to come out once a year, lubricate, adjust, tighten everything on the door. It's we're going to give you a couple upgrades today. We're going to extend your warranty. And we've got 35,000 service agreements. And these people love us, and they're going to use us for everything. They want to buy storage from us. They want, when they need and decide they want a new door, who do you think they're calling?
Right. They're not going to go shop for someone else.
No, our stickers are there. I just came up with a new patent for a new behind the wall button. It's a plate, and it looks sexy, and it's clean, and it's got all of our information there. They can book directly from that. I mean, I don't understand anybody that disagrees with service agreements. They go, I would never buy one, but you're not my customer. I never want you to be my customer. You will never be my customer because you're too cheap. Just because you wouldn't do it doesn't mean I'm not going to do it, because I market to the affluent, the people that have boats, the people that have second houses. I want the best clients. I want the best internal clients. So just because you would never do it, that's exactly why you're at today, where you're at. It's because you would never do it because you don't believe. You don't have any faith. You don't believe in yourself. And I'm not talking to the entire, there's so many great people that own companies, garage door companies, but there's such a vast majority of them that just, they don't believe because they don't value their life the same that I do. They don't want to see their parents win. Maybe they do, but they don't show it. They might say in the back of their minds, I really want to win. But do they? Actions speak a lot louder than words. They don't value their time. And trust me, I get it. I was that guy more than a decade ago. But I had to change the way my algorithm is trained. And yes, service agreements are the lifeblood of any company. And they're there when times are down. I'll tell you this. I don't care what the economy does. I got 35,000 service agreements. They're not going anywhere. Those customers are customers for life. They're happy paying $13 a month, all day, every day. And we're selling thousands a month. I'll be at 100,000 before the end of 2025.
That's awesome. That's awesome. See, that's changing lives. Again, guys that are listening, you want to change your life, change the lives of your technicians and installers and your team. Changing the life by providing security and safety to your customers. The concept of the membership, the concept of the service agreement is huge, and it's a perfect segue to you having a lifelong customer. I think that's awesome. Thanks, man.
GDF, we just did a training for the members where they could send out technicians, and these technicians came in. There was about 45, 50 of them. And I got to spend a lot of time with these guys. A lot of them got my cell phone number. And we had a guy go out the first day and do $10,000. Wow. It's not uncommon when you get comfortable selling doors to have a $20,000 day. And it's so cool to watch these company owners win, the management win, and the employees win, and the customer wins. And that's one thing I can't stress enough, the love and TLC that goes into Garage Door Freedom. Now, we're not perfect. We're adding so much, and we're going to build it up, and we're going to hire more people. We're going to get more deals for people, and we're going to offer more. I mean, to run this program like we do and really help just their Service Titan account and let them know the data they need to make good choices, that alone took me and Adam 5 years to figure out. And now we got a full-time guy, John Baird, that's all he does is take what we've created at A1 and duplicate it for other companies to have the KPIs to make great choices. And I stress the point of somebody wants to learn how to sell. I mean, even a company with 3 technicians, if they join Garage Door Freedom, and look, I don't really care if you join. I don't make money on that. It goes to my, there's not a profit made from Garage Door Freedom. It was so much in the hole with these events and everything else. It's not profitable. It's period. The PE guy said, close it down. They wanted to get rid of it. They said, this doesn't make any money. And I said, no, I'm not closing it down. It's a hard pass. No. But everybody's like, man, Tommy's making a fortune. Bullshit. It's $10,000 a year. There's no money made on that.
That's not a fortune. No.
How do you think $10,800 a year and a little bit of rebate money even covers the cost of the people I have working over there? It doesn't. I pull in my team. I pull in Brian Davenport and Luke, and I pull in everybody. And we got trainers that are helping. I'm like, how does anybody think I actually make profit doing this program? I don't.
Right. It's giving. This is giving back. I love it. I love it. So let me just look here. So, let's talk about for a minute. Let's talk about, we've got this massive event, which I think is going to be the biggest event in home service industry coming up in a couple of weeks. What drove this? What drove you to be putting on events like this? And talk about why should someone be there? I've been pumping this for weeks to let people know, but talk to us about Home Service Freedom in Orlando.
When I started the podcast, I started getting emails and texts and Facebook about how people are able to spend more time with their kids. They were going to get a divorce. They didn't have the money. They didn't have time to spend time with family. And I've learned so much from home service. We're blue collar workers. We deserve this. And people need to think about what freedom is to them. To me, it's what I want when I want with who I want. It's going first class through life. And I like changing family trees, man. That's my passion. That's why I was put on this earth, is to help people win and accomplish their dreams. And I've had a lot given to me. Jody came into my life and Vanessa. I had Al Levy. I had Dan Antonelli. I basically getting the whole group together of how we created it. But it's so much more. How do I have more impactful morning meetings called the Morning Mojo calls? It's how to set a budget for next year. We've got 80 different companies that are giving rebates to us through this platform.
Right on.
I'm literally working on a BI tool for everybody that'll show all the KPIs. And I've got a group of developers putting these things together. We're working on how to do every aspect of your business to when you walk in on Monday, you know exactly where your time's going, how to hire a personal or executive assistant, how to do an equity incentive program, how to come up with performance pay, all these things, door to door. I have a whole door to door platform and program. And I'm just giving it all into this group because I've learned so much from pest control and even pool companies and landscape companies. And so many people came to Vertical Track that weren't doing garage doors. I said, this event is not catered to you. So I just said, we're going to do another event and I'm going to open it up. And I'm telling you, I promise you that if you do not get, it's not even about value. It's about changing lives. It's about changing mindset. It's, right now I'm at 15% body fat. I'll be under 10 by Christmas. I'm going to talk a lot about just how I personally feel, how I have energy, how I focus, how I come into work and know exactly what I'm supposed to do, how I get all the help I need, I'm not lost when I walk in. It's so much more than just being able to make money. It's changing lives. It's having more impact in your community. It's literally hanging out with family and actually enjoying it, being where your feet are. When you're at work, you're at work. When you're at home, you're actually not watching a TV show. You're having dinner. You're finding out what's going on in your kids' lives. There's so much more. It's being faithful. I'm a man of God. I love Jesus Christ. I'm not going to talk the whole time about that, but I'm going to talk about how my life, the more I invest in him, the better my life becomes. So it's a real rounded event that's going to, I believe, if somebody comes and they don't get their money's worth, I'll give you your money back. I don't care. Once again, I don't make money on this stuff. I make a lot of money in the garage door industry. I made lots and 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 lots of millions. I have enough to retire 10 times over again. And I'm not being cocky. I'm just stating the facts. This isn't a money grab. This is about changing a lot of lives. And vertical track is for garage door companies. This freedom event is still good for garage door companies. But the fact is that any industry, whether you're landscaping, you do concrete, you do insulation, you do solar, I don't care what you do. I even have automotive companies coming to this event.
Right
and
on.
I'm telling you, we're going to change the whole effing industry. It's all about to get changed. And the people that join this, the people that come to these events, their life is about to become much better. They're going to have a twinkle in their eye. They're going to be smiling all their way to the bank. And they're going to have more meaningful relationships. And we're stronger together. And that's what this is about. And when people come, their mind's going to be blown. It's going to be better than Woodstock.
Man, I can't wait. It's going to be great. And I know that from past experience, but, there's more to life, right? There's more to life than just the money or the bottom or the top line revenue. There's the freedom and the happiness and enjoying the journey and the ride and following the advice that we've gotten here, following your advice that you've delivered on other platforms is going to help people get there.
Well, it's about mindset. And it's about, if you're unhappy, look in the mirror. You're the only one that can do anything about it. I can't help you quit drinking or quit doing drugs or quit watching porn or whatever it is that might be your vice. What I could do is I could tell you, and I could lead by example. And the best thing I could do is try to show you that my mindset is an abundant mindset. And I believe I could do anything. And I believe if you put your mind to it, but you do make mistakes and you got to look in the mirror. Life didn't happen to you. Look around. You created this. You created your environment. There's only one person that could change it. My job is just to show you there's other options, other paths that you could take.
Awesome.
And, you don't have to be around people. If you don't get motivated by the people you're around every day, then you have a cage. And my goal is that people don't need to live in this cage anymore. I tell every one of the guys during orientation, people are going to be very envious when you get back and you're making more money and you're buying a house and you're buying your dream car and you're taking your kids to their best places you can imagine and you're taking your grandparents on a trip to Italy. They're not going to like it. They're not even going to realize they don't, but they're going to be very envious. People always love you till you get past them. And I said, guys, just be prepared. There's a lot of haters out there and it's okay. Just realize it's what's happening because your life is about to become really great if you allow it to happen.
Allow it to happen. We get in our own way. If we can just talk about that for a minute, you kind of highlighted it, but what if I want so many people to achieve what you've achieved, right? Once we get to your place in life, what are some of the coolest things that your life has afforded you now? I know we got a new house. I heard
it's a beautiful house.
Ping pong coach.
Yeah, I heard that I'm good at ping pong. I'm good at shooting pool. I'm good at bar sports for sure. I'll tell you what. I bought the neighbor's house next to mine. I'm building a gym. I'm putting more garages in. I'm putting in a place for the housekeeper. It sounds cocky, but I'm buying back my time. Putting in an amazing pool that stares into the basement. I bought Bria 68 Firebird for her birthday, just like her grandpa's that just passed away. I've got Kit from Knight Rider. I got the DeLorean that'll be at the Freedom event. I'm buying what I want. I just was in New York. We went on a helicopter through New York. Wow. And we went on the top-notch Empire State Building tour. I just feel like everybody should be able to go first class. I don't go on regular flights. I mean, I'll still go on Southwest. I'm not proud. But I want to be comfortable. I think if you work hard, you should be able to do. And I'll tell you this. I'm always working, but I'm always having fun. So you can't catch me anywhere where I'm not talking a little bit about business or a book I read or a podcast. So I do both. And I'm building a beautiful home in Idaho. And here's the coolest part. I want to share it with everybody. And when Jody comes into town, he didn't do this last time. He got golf coaching. But I want him to stay with me. I want everybody to experience I want to have fun. I didn't do all this. I was happy in an apartment. I really was. I didn't mind being in a 1,000 square foot apartment for 4 years. I didn't mind having a used Nissan Titan from 2012 with 190,000 miles of salvage title. I'm fine. But when I had the opportunity, I said, listen, I'm going to buy like I want to be bought from. And I'm going to do nice things. I'm going to do a lot of nice things for a lot of people. And it's not look at me, look at what I've accomplished. It's listen, let's grow together, because it's lonely at the top if you're not bringing anybody with you, man. If you're not bringing everybody around you up, then what's the point? It's not fun. It's lonely. I mean, a lot of people say I can't trust anybody now that I got money. I don't feel that way at all. I'm around the closest people that help me come up. I don't feel lost. I don't feel like I partnered with a great investor. I don't feel like this, oh man, everything's changed. It's bullshit. I'm happier than I've ever been. And people say that, but listen, you come see my life, you'll realize it. I'm busier than I've ever been. I'm getting a personal assistant. I'm getting a chief of staff. I've got an amazing executive assistant, and I'm trying to buy back more time. But ultimately, it's a great life, and I'm very fortunate. All my fingers still are here. I wake up with energy. I don't have a lot of pain running through my body. I'm working out more than I ever have. I'm comfortable looking in the mirror now. I'm okay taking off my shirt at a pool party. Like that, there's certain things you can't buy, and health has been a big focus of mine. And I'm going to talk a lot about health at the Freedom event, but it's something where you hear people talk and you're like, are they full of shit? Are they real? And I'm the realest dude you'll ever meet. I'm real. This is real.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I felt that. I think everybody that listens to you and watches you feels that. I've kept you on here so much longer than we planned, and then I know when I talked with you.
Well, let's just do another. I got another. Do you want to just? I don't know if you got 15 more minutes, and we'll finish up.
Yeah, cool. Well, so let's talk about.
You wanted to talk a little bit about the economy.
Yeah, I don't want Jody getting mad at me because he lectures me all the time on abundance mindset. So he wants me to not talk about it, but we talked you mentioned a couple of weeks in a post, and we had kind of an economic, well, we'll call it what we want, slow down in the pandemic. Talk to me about what you think people need to know going forward.
Well, the Fed came out today and said inflation is not below 2%, so they're going to do another hike on interest rates. Gas prices in the federal in the emergency gas, whatever it's called, they got 16 days worth. Gas prices are going up. People are not buying houses because interest rates are up. They're keeping their existing houses. There's money in the bank. I speak once a month on the economical outlook of the entire world, but mostly United States, to Goldman Sachs, and I take a deep dive. And there's a lot of good signs, but what I will say is I'm on a group text with the largest HVAC companies in the country. Yesterday I had Frank DeMarco on the podcast. He's running an $800 million company. And not a lot of people are making budget. Demand was so high, you couldn't hire enough people. And now everybody, it's a teeter-totter. Either you need more leads or you need more people. And right now people need more leads. And what I could tell you is your best time to get smart would have been yesterday, but the best time is you got to make tough decisions. You got to invest in the right marketing. Do not cancel marketing. Most people do. They feel bad for people if they got to let people go. But then they go bankrupt, and then everybody's out of a job, and all those people that relied on you. So it's making tough decisions, being quick and efficient, calculated decisions. It's investing in the things you could control in these four walls. It's double downing on the stuff that's working. It's going back to the guerrilla marketing tactics you once did when you started that you might have got out of because we were spoiled during COVID. If demand kept up the last 3 years for the next 7, the home service industry would be higher than the GDP. So it's not plausible. So it's going to be survival of the fittest. If you're not taking care of your people, if you're not hiring class act A+ people, if you're not training, if you're not building your culture, if you don't got a plan, I mean, I'm here to tell you, I'll buy you. I'll come in and save your ass. I will. I'm all about great opportunities. And it's turning into a buyer's market. Buyer's market means there's a discount across the country. It's time to take market share. No matter what happens, I'm going to be winning. It doesn't matter if it's a shit economy, we go into a Great Depression. It doesn't matter if the economy's booming and Trump gets elected again. Wink, wink. No matter what happens, I'm going to win, period. But it doesn't mean you have to lose. That's my whole point. We could win together.
Right on. Right on. So cool. What about, I know you know who Dan Kennedy is. I've heard you quote him a lot. You know, he has a quote, the business that can afford to pay the most for a lead or a customer wins.
Yeah.
You've heard that before?
Yeah, Dan Kennedy also said, charge a higher price you can without smiling when you give the price.
There we go. There we go. Well, share your thoughts on leaning into the marketing, leaning into, positioning themselves in marketing right now.
Well, I see a lot of people, they say, yeah, I tried that. It doesn't work. They tried Angie's List. They tried Home Advisor. They tried Porch. They've tried Google, GMB, LSA, PPC, organic. They tried newspaper. They tried radio. And of course, the best leads in the world are referrals, and it's through marketing and networking. But ultimately, there's no source that I've ever got into that doesn't work. It's just figuring it out. And it's being open-minded, and actually there's an order of operations. I think it starts with it's optimizing your Google My Business page and making sure you're getting a lot of reviews. And then I think organic is the next best. And then LSA should be turned on max. And then pay-per-click could also be dialed in. I think Google's the lifeblood of any company that wants to grow. I see a lot of people that are very prideful about not marketing at all. I don't need to spend any money in marketing. Yeah. Well, how big is your company? How many states are you in? But maybe that's good for them. And maybe they just want a lifestyle business that's a little bit easier to maintain and manage. But who I take advice from is people I want to become more like. Right. So it's the people I look at the way they live and the way they talk. And I take advice from people that I want to emulate. Not that I'm like, I don't want nothing to be. I don't take advice from, you don't go to a homeless person to find out how to make wealth. So,
right.
Anyways, marketing, I think, is a networking game. It's giving superb service, creating raving fans. And here's the deal. If you don't have a high conversion rate, if you're not booking every freaking call that comes in, I'm at 87% booking rate. I don't want the other 13%. I think if you're over 90, you probably shouldn't be booking them. And I'm not out there booking discount like coupons everywhere.
Right.
But what I think is if you brand correctly, and I'm talking a lot because the first step is to get the right brands on your truck. It's a clear message. It says what you do, not everything you do with the 80 things. I do cables, bearings, drums, rollers. Don't do that. You might have a small ROC you shouldn't have BBB on there. You shouldn't have the Angie's List. No one, you want what you do to stand out on your trucks. You want your website. You want your building. You want the color palette to be the same. The best thing I could say is I was $40 million when I invested in Dan Antonelli. Best money I ever spent, and that's why we'll be $1 billion company. You got to have the branding. That's where it starts. Next is you're not going to – if you go to a1garage.com/game day, my buddy Brian Byrne did a podcast with another company, Ishmael's company, and one of the guys on there said, I don't ever give discounts. And the reason I did a shortcut through my site is because I give this out to my technicians all the time. We have meetings. There's websites easy. a1garage.com/game day. And he says, I don't give discounts because I have too much pride in what I do. I'm not a discounted tech. I don't give a discount to myself because it's discounting myself and what I make. So I think understanding that if you can control the training of your technicians, you increase conversion rate, you sell more doors on service calls, you book more of the calls, then you might be able to look at marketing. Most people are crying to their marketing company saying, I need more leads. I need more leads. Well, you suck with the leads I give you. What makes you think more is going to be the answer? It's so funny hearing these people cry. I'm missing leads. I'm missing leads. I hired too many people. Did you hire great people that are out there networking, going to BNI meetings for you, getting tech-generated leads, installer-generated leads? Because my people, my coworkers, they get leads on their own. Now, yes, we book a ton of calls, but I got a guy that generated 10 leads last week.
Wow.
And you wonder why I need more leads. Why? Because you were making 8% last year. You weren't even at the best year of home service, which was last year and the year before. If you weren't doing over 20% and you weren't growing massively, you need to look in the mirror and you need to say, maybe I wasn't doing it right. Maybe I got to get these systems within these four walls fixed before I decide to grow. Maybe it's time to clamp down. Maybe it's time to top grade. Maybe it's time that I hire sophisticated people that are better than me. That's the scary thing. The scary thing is most people say I hire people that are dumber than me because I don't want to feel stupid in the meeting and I'm afraid they're going to steal my business. So, Rob, I'll tell you, I look around and I say, these people are way smarter than me in their field of expertise. They make a lot of money. They're all invested into the company. A lot of equity holders here.
Right.
And it's crazy. I don't hire people that are dumber than me. I hire people that are super smart, that can start their own business if they want to, but they choose to work here because they're specialists. And I think that's the hardest lesson to learn is hire people that could take you to where you want to go that have already been there.
That's huge. That's huge. Think about that, guys. Think about that. That's so cool.
And, you had a question earlier, Rob, about if we were to partner with a company, I'll tell you what would be very attractive. They're on Service Titan. They're on the same Paylocity. They've got a similar chart of accounts. If you wanted us to be a buyer, we bought 14 companies in the last 16 months, I think. We don't get rid of any employees when we buy a company. We retrain the techs, the CSRs, the dispatchers, and installers our way. But we take a lot from them too. We learn from them. We've got a lot of pride in their brand. We're authentic. We're garage door doctor. We're all kinds. We're Dons. We keep existing brands for a lot of the businesses. If they've already penetrated that market and done service long enough, we want to keep their brand. The one thing I do want is I want newer trucks for the guys. I mean, if they're 2 years old, I'm not going to replace them. I'm going to give them all a fresh set of tools. I'm going to give them some really great training on process. And I would say, if you join Garage Door Freedom, we're basically building the same formula that grew A1. I mean, and you look at it, you look at a guy like Cody, who's super intelligent, just an amazing guy. And yes, it's not perfect. It's much more, I hate the word corporate, but all corporate means to me is more process, more systems, a little bit more levels of reporting, because people can't just call me now when they have a problem because I don't have the answer. I don't know how to take PTO. I don't know how to submit it. So, Cody had a tough transition, but he's really learned a lot. And he's learning that one of the things I told Cody a couple months ago is, hey, if you want to be a dispatcher, you can. If you want to be a CSR, you can. Him and his dad and his brother, Ryan, they worked tirelessly 24/7, 6 days, 7 days a week. I mean, they burnt the candle on both ends. And now I look at them and I'm hoping they're enjoying their time. Now they've lived a full life of working 24/7. So it's hard to make that switch within 3 months.
Sure.
But my goal is that they actually enjoy every minute and they enjoy working like I do. So, it's great having these guys. Cody's such a big spokesperson for the whole garage door industry. Vince is amazing. I want them to live. I want them to enjoy their kids and their wives and just live their best life. And really what it starts out with is, what's your dream? I think Cody's dream is to work more. So we're trying to find out how to get him to work more. But overall, my main goal is that when people partner with us, you write your dream job down. Anybody but Cody and Vince and Ryan typically say, I want to work a little bit less and not do more. They say, they say that they say things like, I want to take more vacation time. And I say, very good. Because guess what? Now you don't have to do payroll. Now you don't have to worry about budgeting. Now you don't have to worry about the HR and hiring. We can handle all that. You just got to motivate the people in your current market. You got to be networking, doing the things I can't from Phoenix. And it's amazing because a guy like Cody had such a great business that we said, we want you to be owners of the new company, the A1, the foundation, the main hub. So we invited, because Cody's so great and his business was so strong. It's called rolling equity. They actually took chips off the table. They put a lot back in, and now that's going to compound. The money they got on the initial deal, they're each going to get that amount. So Vince set them up in a way, because it was originally Dad's business, that Ryan and Cody and Vince will all get another huge amount that'll change not only their lives, not only their wives' lives, but all their kids will have homes they could buy. They'll all have 401ks. They'll all have retirement accounts set up. I mean, you're talking about millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars for each of these guys. And they deserve it.
They do.
And, well, just to think about, they were making $500,000 a few years ago, total for the year. And now we're talking about millions and tens of millions of dollars.
That's so great. Yeah, I hope everybody's listening to what the opportunity that could be before you. Take some time and pivot your company and put it together in a way that somebody like A1 or Tommy would be interested in, and change your life. I will say, I hope Ryan's listening, because now we know when I text Ryan and it's 8:00 at night, Houston time, and Ryan says, "Hey, I'm on my way to my next job, my next estimate, and I'm going, holy cow, you're working too late." Now we know he should be home. He's set.
It's interesting. I want to explain just really quick how business works. Typically, what's going to happen is we're going to talk about profitability of a company. And this is in any home service company. This is how White Castles and how Denny's and the Hilton and dentist office and everything works. They take what's called EBITDA, earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. And in the EBITDA, there's profit plus some add backs. Maybe you're paying your wife and paying for your cars and your gym memberships out of the business. We add all that back. And then you get a certain multiple. We multiply that. Typically in the garage door business, I'm seeing a lot of guys do it for 3. It goes 5, 6, depending on the company. And if you don't have any service agreements and your books aren't together and the average employee's been there 1 year, and you're not getting a ton of phone calls from sticker. I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into what the multiple is going to be. But then let's just say you're doing $1 million. Let's just say you're doing 2 million and we give you 10 for the business. And you're a very good business and you want to roll 20%, which would be $2 million back in. The goal would be that we 4 or 5x that 2 million to be just as much. Now, private equity averages about 3 times. So even 3 times on that 2 million, the rule of 7 says at 10%, your money doubles. I don't know anybody getting 10% on average. They're not getting it from the stock market. S&P 500, maybe, there's good and bad years, but doubling in 7 years, if you triple in 3, you're outdoing any investment that's out there. But wow. Here's what people don't understand is when Cody, Vince, and Ryan came in, they came in at the same point I came back into the new company. Every 6 months, we reevaluate what the company's worth. Now, this is the secret sauce because a lot of people say, I want to double before I go to A1 and tell them what I want. What, do you not think we're going to double? So if this is if you wanted to roll equity, if you just said, I want to get out completely, but if you think we're not going to 4X this business in 2.5 years, you got to be smoking something. Tell me you're a drug dealer. I want to find out what you're on. So right. If you don't think we're going to grow just as fast, if not faster, because we're buying and consolidating, we got a full-time person just got ready to start for text messaging and email, SMS. Like, if you're going to roll, you want to come in at the lowest value of the company, but it gets reevaluated higher every time because we're not going to let somebody come in right before we go through another transaction at the same value I'm in and Cody's in. And I think this is a hard process to learn. So listen to my podcast and try to educate yourself. Talk to other business owners. Come to Freedom and find out how this works. Talk to a broker that sells companies and understand this stuff. Because I love how people come in and they're like, yeah, my grandpa's old best friend's son is a lawyer. And it's like, you want to get somebody that's really educated on what they do and to make it super seamless and understand what you're going to be doing within the new business. Because I think if anything, the founder feels lost. The business owners feel lost when they do a transaction. They feel like it's an identity crisis. Things aren't the way it used to be. And it's not going to be. Quite frankly, it won't be the exact same. Anybody that buys we try to make companies stronger. There's things we take out, learn, and adopt for the whole company. And there's things that we apply. Like I overlap all my KPIs and I say, how much should we do if we change everything to A1? It's always been better. In fact, Garage Door Doctor had their best month and they continue to have best months. And there's still a lot of work to be done, but it's coming along. Their price book's about to be on ours in about 30 days. And it was we love the name Garage Door Doctor. We love what they're doing. Yeah. And I think they want to see a great outcome for them and their family. And we're going to do that. And they believe in me. As long as, even if shit hits the fan, we're not ready to do a deal in 3 years. I don't know. We could be in a world war for all I know, but we're not going anywhere. We've got enough money to weather any type of storm, more than anybody else has in the garage door industry. We could literally not make a dime for the next 5 years and still be okay. But I don't know the innovation that's going on. Service Titan studies us. They sent out the number 2 guy in the company to come do ride-alongs with us. We're literally working on their AI for dispatch. They need us to help them. Like the innovation that we're doing inside of this building and inside of what Jim's doing in Pittsburgh and what our different people are doing. There's a soul expression. If you can't beat them, join them. I don't know how. And this is kind of, it's kind of cocky, but I don't care. With the people we have and the talent pool we have and the resources that I've kind of put together through the podcast and over time, I don't know how anybody's going to stand a chance to be able to compete when I'm able to sell installation packages. I'm able to sell storage. I'm able to get so much more money from the current tickets with a higher conversion rate and get more reviews and use AI to kind of forward develop the company, which means I'm not getting rid of anybody, but I'm not going to need to hire anymore for certain divisions.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, we're headed towards 30% bottom line, and we pay anybody more than any other company. But it's through innovation that we're able to get there, economies of scale. I renegotiated with all of our vendors this year. How's anybody supposed to compete when I'm getting stuff way because of volume? It's just people who buy more should get a better volume discount. How are they going to compete? Rob, how does anybody compete when we're servicing right now? We'll be servicing 100,000 doors a month within 3 years. How do they think I got a better deal of getting trucks? I'm paying $15,000 less. Service time doesn't cost me near as much because I hit a threshold that only 2 other companies have hit in the whole company of Service Titan. So when I'm paying less and I've got economies of scale and my CSRs could book more phone calls because I got higher volume, how do you compete?
Can't.
It's going to be very interesting. I mean, it's David and Goliath, and David's got a lot of advantages. They can pivot quicker. But I'm just saying, I'm not trying to. This isn't a threat. This is just a fair question. I'd love to know. I'm not out there to try to hurt companies. In fact, I'm trying to grow them. I love it when every company's winning. I want the garage door industry to do great. I'm just telling you, we're innovating. I'm just telling you, if you're not doing this stuff, you're not visiting, you're not coming around us, you're not getting these ideas, you're not inspiring your people, come by. I don't charge to come by our shop. Come do a shop tour. Even if you hate me, shoot, just say someone else do a shop tour. Say, I don't want Tommy there. He's too cocky for me. That's fine. We'll get somebody else to do a shop tour. I'm good with it.
Yeah, I've done a shop tour at Tommy's. I would highly recommend anyone that wants to just get some inspiration, clear some cobwebs out of their head, go take a tour. You'll end up in that office you're looking at right there. I was right behind those screens everybody's seeing you on. So, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's great. And so there's something to think about. You know, I have a lot of talks with garage door service owners. And A1 will sometimes come up, you know, because you're in their market when we talk about competitive analysis. And there you go, guys, that anyone that might be listening, you know, here's an opportunity to you know, join the A1 team and still be able to, you know, roll back some of your equity in and enjoy this ride and watch A1 change your company. That could be cool.
Regardless, even if you don't reach garage door freedom or become part of the A1 team, it's not the end of the world for me. We're able to greenfield. We've got a lot of strategies. We've got a lot of affiliate deals. We're growing regardless. All I would say is get to know us a little bit. Don't judge a book by its cover. You see us coming to markets, we do well. We really do care. We care about the people we're around. We care about the communities we're in. This isn't just trying to push people aside and just a money grab. If it was, I'd be already out of the business. I've already done great, phenomenal. I'm very happy with the outcome, but there's so much more than what we're trying to do. And this is more of a movement than a garage door company. So we want to expand. We want to be North America's largest and most trusted, most impactful company. But at the end of the day, we need to bring a lot of people with us. And it doesn't mean you're part of the A1 team or not necessarily garage door freedom. It means become a better human being, a better leader, and let everybody around you win. So
right on. More money, more freedom, more impact all the way around. I love it.
That's right.
Right on. Well, Tommy, thanks a ton. Again, I'm trying to be conscious or caught.
No, this is great. Listen, we went almost 90 minutes, and you know, I could give a million shout outs, but everybody that's been around me knows how important they are and how much they've moved my life in the right direction. And I hope to say I could give you back everything that you've given for me. So if you're listening, a lot of people in the industry and a lot of people outside of the industry, Tom Howard, you know, there's so many people that have done so much for me. So a lot of consideration, a lot of thanks for everyone out there. And I appreciate everybody who's taken the time to just say hi to me and get to know me a little bit instead of judging me without knowing me, because I'm really not a bad guy. I'll open up my door to anybody, and I only want the best. I'm not out there trying to take advantage of anybody.
Right. I can testify to that, guys. Even though Tommy and I don't know each other that well, I've been paying attention for a while, and I think he's a genuine and real deal. And it's cool too for me. If I can just say that for a minute. Some of your favorite people that you've mentioned here today are also my favorite people that I have met, spent time on this platform with. You know, Tom Howard and you know, Jody and their team. Love them. And Al Levy, so inspirational, so great, and we talk on occasion, and so it's awesome. And then I totally enjoyed my friendship with Cody. We've talked quite a bit. He's actually helped me a ton, so I feel a connection to your team as well. So thanks, man.
Well, everybody you mentioned is on my team, and I'm on their team. So, you know, like I said, is all you have in this world is your word, and just the people you know. Your network is your net worth. And yeah, man, I really enjoy this. I enjoyed this podcast more than I've enjoyed any podcast in a long time, because I feel like I get to talk to my people, which are the garage door people. And I know some of the things you might disagree with and you might not like, but it's my point of view and it might not be right, but I appreciate being on here and at least being able to share my ideas.
No, you're a stud. Thank you. I hope we can do this again.
I'd love to. And I promise, well, you'll have a lot of questions. You let me talk a lot on this one. So
we'll bring it up. We'll bring it all home. But thanks again, Tommy. You have a great evening. I'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yes, sir.
I'll make sure I get in your face and shake your hand.
Sounds great, Rob. Thanks for having me on the show, and I really enjoyed it.
Right on. Thanks. Have a great one.
All right, brother.
Okay, bye.